is the fourth biggest city in Germany. It has 1.1 million inhabitants. 118 nations are living there, and it is the sister city of Rotterdam. So, and we have a similar task at the moment. My colleague Theo and I, we are remodeling our public library buildings, our central libraries, and therefore we are collaborating together with Ton and Theo and having an exchange what our sister city is doing and what we are doing. So you can see the central library building, and we have 11 branches. One of the branches is Cult Library, which we remodeled with Aat Vos 5 years ago, and is such a success model that it really helped us to get all the support we needed for the 130 million project of the renovation of the Central Library.
Good morning. Thank you for showing up in this satellite meeting. I always wanted to be a satellite. I guess now we're together and have fun stuff. My name's Aat, and I'm an architect. I always thought architecture was for architects. Working in libraries since the mid-80s, I made a discovery about 10 years ago that library actually are not for architects. Those libraries are very important tools for city development, and I'd like to share you some of the ideas that we shared, Hal and I together, in the last couple of 5, 6, 7 years that we're working together. Some of the background of what the ideas are that we're trying to implement in the new city library in Cologne. I'd like to focus on two particular users. One of them is John. Well, this is John, and he actually doesn't have that much money. So on his savings, he buys himself a cup of coffee in his cafe, in the street. That's what he likes to do. You know, the street is part of the public domain, and the cafe, the front door of the cafe is part, is at the street. And of course the cafe is well known, so it has, some neighbors. It might be a house in, might also be, shops and everything like that. But something happened in our urban development, and our shopping streets actually became shopping centers. And that changed significantly something for John. Because as you see, now the front door of the cafe no longer is part of the public domain, it's part of the commercial domain. That actually is a huge difference for John. Jean Twenge, an American psychologist, writes about this generation. She calls it the iGen, Internet Generation. And the subtitle of this book is interesting. It's why today's super-connected kids are growing up less rebellious. So far the good news. More tolerant, all right, check. Less happy and completely unprepared for adulthood. This research is based on approximately 40 million data entries in the last couple of decades in the US. And if you read it, I don't know if you got kids, I do. One of them is part of this generation, and it was actually quite recognizable. And it didn't make you really necessarily happy all the time. So there's a problem, I think. The problem is that the commercialization of public space, this is what John is running into, and advancing digitalization increasingly impact the lives of lonely and young people. And by that, it's threatening society as a whole. So far about the bad news. Now here's the good news. We can actually solve some of this by resocialization of the public sector through the use of libraries. And this is not something, just that we come up with because this is a library conference. This is actually based on evidence. So give an example, please. Right, this is Oslo. Tøyen is a township of Oslo, about 1 square kilometer, 140 nationalities, and the average household is about 14 square meters, 40, and 6 people are living there. One of the richest countries in the world, but this is also downtown Oslo. This is the shopping center, Tøyen Turk, And something happened here. It used to be like a mingled, environment, the tourists hanging out, and a lot of youngsters, and a lot of locals, because the Munch Museum was, pretty much at the doorstep of that shopping center. But it changed. So the Munch Museum basically went to here. This is downtown Oslo, the harbor front, pretty close to the railway station and the opera. So that actually causes a problem for the tour. So what happens when the tourists no longer get there? What about our drug issues? What about our, unemployment issues? And the city of Oslo decided to invest in local jobs, in an upgrade of the shopping center, and in development of the libraries. It used to be 200 square meters. Now there are 2 libraries, in total 1,200 square meters. One is a regular family library, another one is a youth library. Here it is. It's called Biblioteken. This is how it looks, and it was developed together with the kids. It's only accessible for kids between 10 and 15 years old. And just ask them, what do you guys like to do? When have you eaten for the first time in your day? What are your needs? What are your necessities? What do you like to do? And they basically like to hang out together. Once I started realizing this potential, that architecture was not about architects, but architecture could basically, create tools for urban development, we started talking to a lot of people. We started talking, for instance, to Diane Gerardo. You wrote your book 20 years ago, but please help us to understand the house today. Saskia Sassen, you guys might know her in this house. She's a sociologist, urban development. Erik van der Kooi, he's the scenario writer, used to be at that time for the city of Amsterdam. Joe Pine, experience economy. What happens in our economy? And what we learned, we collected in this book how to create a public space. Of course, I'd like to share with you guys. So this is about urban development through libraries as third places.
I have the children's library on the basement right now, and we brought the kids up to the light in the first floor and created a family library. Here you can see a huge area where people can sit and eat and come together. This should run now. Yeah, it does. So you get an impression of the building. The 2 sides are the children's library, and the other 2 sides are the family library. And right in the middle is a big information desk. There's heaters for the drinking bottles for the babies and so on. And we copied the parking lot for Kinderwagen in Aarhus. So this building is red-colored windows now, and it's very much 70 years, so we changed the look into more moderate colors.
It takes a village to raise a child. But I think we might say it takes a library to basically raise a community. Good news to us, good news to John, and good news to Mia. Thank you very much, and good news to Cologne.